days where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's be free Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free.
Hello, and welcome to this live video at the SVG Card Crafters Success Summit. My name is Sarah Edwards, and I'm an SVG designer and card maker from craftwithsarah.com. It's so nice to be here chatting with you this morning, and I hope to answer any questions that you've got. My project for this summit, I actually don't have it ready to show you today. It's been a little bit of a stressful day for me here today. I don't know if anyone else here watching is in England like me, but there has been a lot of rain today. I've been dealing with a little bit of a flood issue in my garden, so I've been outside all morning bailing out water with a bucket, and that's where I'll be going straight away after this video, so I didn't have time to find out my project. However, I think with a little bit of technology magic, we might be able to show it to you on the screen as a photo. There it is. I can see it right there. So my card for this project is an A2 sized card with the adorable little penguin on the front. You can either cut it from solid coloured cardstock, or you can do like my one on the left and make it completely glittery if you've got all the glitter card in the right colours. And it comes with a matching envelope as well. This is a lovely card to make because it's quite quick and easy to do. So if you've got lots of cards, if you're someone that likes to make all their Christmas cards exactly the same, this is a good one to choose because it's not going to take you too long to make them. All right, so let's see if there are any questions. Can't see any yet. So, oh, there we go. Tina says, where do you get your inspiration from for your crafts? And the same question for Brandy. So I can't speak for Brandy, but for me, it's a little bit of everywhere, really. It might be something we see out and about, something in nature or something in a store that you think just sparks off an idea of something similar, or take a little bit of that and a little bit of that and see what you can put together and come up with something new. I'm also quite lucky in that I have some lovely team members who work with me, and we do have regular brainstorming sessions where we all sit down, especially when it comes to coming up with ideas for events and things. We'll say, okay, we're going to do something for Christmas. What can we think of? And then sometimes someone will have a little bit of an idea and someone else will kind of think how it could be developed a bit further. And then we all work collaboratively to see what we end up with. And that works really, really well. Sue's 1957 says, love how you made the envelope. I'll be using that template. Thank you so much. Oh, that's good. I'm glad that it's helpful. I really like with the envelope using double-sided paper, because then you can either get a different pattern on the outside and the inside, or if you use paper that's white on one side and patterned on the other, the inside of your envelope can be nice and patterned, but you've still got the front available to write your message on, your address and things, and it will show up nicely. Cheryl says, how did you get started with your team? So this was probably 2021 that so January 2021 was when I went full-time with Craft with Sarah. So then it became my full-time job. And by the summer, it was becoming a little bit too much to fit in just with me. So that's when I started looking for my first team member, and he joined in July. And then I had a second team member in November, and that's sort of my core team. We've stayed together ever since then. It's really nice. And we have also added a couple of other part-time members as well, which is really, really nice. Everyone's kind of got their own thing that they do, but we all come together and work really nicely together. So it's really, really nice having us all together. Brandy says, any tips when cutting on glitter paper? So I find for glitter paper or glitter cardstock, as it is quite thick, I use the craft board setting on the Cricut, and that's craft with a K. I find that cuts through perfectly every time. It's quite a strong cut, so it will cut all the lines twice. So if you use that, don't worry that it looks like it's done everything and then it starts all over again. It's supposed to do that to make sure it gets through. What you can also do is when your Cricut has finished cutting, if you're not sure if it's cut all the way through, then try and peel a little bit off of the mat to see if it's gone through the cuts. If it hasn't, then before you eject the mat, press the go button again, and it will repeat the cut in exactly the same place, and then hopefully it will go through on that second cut. But if it doesn't, give it a little look again, see if it's gone through, and feed it through for a third time if you need to. Joyce says, what is your favorite type of paper craft to create? That's a difficult one. I do like that feeling of satisfaction when you've done something completely 3D that's taken all day and then it's all finished, and that's something to be really proud of. But I am also quite easily frustrated, so I don't often do things that take a really, really long time, but I definitely feel the achievement when I do. I think my favorite things are probably things that you make for other people that end up really personal. For example, making a greetings card for your friend or family member and making it really tailored to their interests and what they like, and then seeing their face when they open it. I think that's what I enjoy the most, just doing something really personal, whatever it might be. Tina says, are the gnomes your main go-to? I do love my gnome projects. Yes, if you have been following along with Craft with Sarah for any period of time, you probably will have seen a lot of gnome projects. I think we've done, maybe about 200 different pairs of gnomes by now for all different occasions, and I just think they're so cute. We do them, a lot. We've got holiday gnomes, Christmassy gnomes, birthday gnomes, sports gnomes, hobby gnomes, just any gnome you can think of. We've probably done it, or if we haven't, it's on our list to do a little bit later on, probably next year. Victoria says, is there a way to take a small project that you like and make it an off-the-mat design by adding additional images? Yeah, you can absolutely do that. So what you would do if you're using Cricut Design Space, get all your images together that you want to use and lay them out on your screen. Just let's use gnomes as an example. Let's say you had a couple of gnomes, maybe you add some flowers or a dog or a cat or some bushes or trees. Build up your scene. And then you'll need a way to join it all together. So what I would do if I was doing it is I would probably go through all of the images that you've put together and duplicate the very bottom layer of each one and make sure it stays in the same place. To duplicate in place in Design Space, you can use the Alt key on a Windows computer or the Option key on a Mac and then click that bottom layer. It'll make a copy in the same place. And then when you've got all of your bottom layers duplicated, weld them together to make one shape, and then that will give you your outline. If you want to give it a different color around the edge, maybe to add a sky or just a colored border, you can use the offset tool in Cricut Design Space on that welded shape to make a nice border to join it all together. The only problem you'll have then is that if you're doing an off-the-mat design, obviously your base bit's going to be really, really big, probably too big for the Cricut to cut. So what you would do then is use a square or a rectangle and cut your base bit into strips, and then you can stick it all together when it's cut out. That was a very brief introduction to what's quite a complicated thing to do, but hopefully it sort of has helped to put you in the right direction. Sue says, do you know if heat transfer vinyl and infusible ink sheets have a shelf life, specifically Cricut brand? So I do not do a lot with vinyl or infusible ink. I tend to stick with paper crafts. Something kind of rings a little bell that maybe infusible ink has a 2-year shelf life, but I'm not sure if that is accurate or if it's just something that I'm thinking of that I might have got the wrong end of the stick. But in terms of vinyl and heat transfer vinyl, I'm afraid I don't know because it's just not materials that I use that often. I hate weeding vinyl, so I don't use it. I stick to my paper where it all just magically comes off of the cutting mat for you. Michelle says, truth or lie, does using an aluminium foil ball help remove the glitter and sharpen the blade? There are so many opinions on this. There are lots of opinions on that. Personally, I don't think that tinfoil can sharpen the blade, but I do think it can be helpful for cleaning it. If you poke it in, if you've got it, especially if it does have glitter or something on it or dust or something like that, it can help clean it. But personally, I don't use that. I've got a paintbrush, just a nice kind of soft paintbrush that I use if I need to clean my blade. So I take it out the machine and then push a little bit on the end to get the blade out and just brush it with the brush, and that gets rid of any debris or anything like that. And that seems to work well for me. I do find the blades are pretty good. I only change them maybe once a year, something like that. And I use my Cricut machines a lot, mostly for paper, like I said, not vinyl, which I don't know, maybe that makes a difference because the cardstock isn't sticky. But yeah, I just find a little bit of paintbrush every now and then is enough. Yeah. Sue says, when I use my Cricut for cutting, the paper rips. What am I doing wrong? So you're probably not doing anything wrong. It's just going to be a little bit dependent on a few things, such as how well your cardstock is stuck to your mat, what type of cardstock it is, whether you're cutting something really small and intricate. But a few general tips are, if you've got a brayer tool, which is kind of like a roller, then when you put your cardstock on the mat, go over it really firmly with the brayer tool to help it stick really well. If you don't have a brayer tool, you could use your Cricut scraper tool. Just make sure you don't mark the cardstock, or you could use a rolling pin from the kitchen. It'll do the same thing as a brayer. And then If you find that your card is maybe moving about a bit on the mat, maybe your mat's lost its stickiness a bit, use some washi tape or similar around the edges to hold it in place so it doesn't move, because that movement can sometimes cause it to tear. It might also be that you're cutting on too high a cut setting. If your cardstock's quite thin, then try the light cardstock setting, and you may even need less pressure. And if that's still ripping, try going a little bit lighter on a different setting. If you're then worried that it hasn't cut through all the way because you have gone so light, just peel it off a little bit after it's finished, like I said a little bit earlier. And if it hasn't cut through, you can send it through again. And if you're cutting something really intricate, then you could try the setting. I don't use it, but I know lots of people do. It's called something like intricate cardstock setting or something. I can't remember what it is exactly, but there is a setting in Design Space somewhere specifically designed for those cuts. Tina says, what is your favorite thing to make? Yeah, so as I said earlier, I think it is kind of the things that I then give away that I've made specifically for someone so it matches what they like. I think I enjoy that the most because I'm crafting it for a purpose, whereas because of obviously what I do, you know, I'm crafting a lot on videos and things like that, just as part of my job. So I find that what I really enjoy is the ones where I'm sort of a little bit away from that and doing something of my own that's not testing a new design or making a video. It's actually something I'm making just because I want to make it. Doesn't happen very often though, unfortunately. Cheryl says, could you explain what off the mat is? Yes, so it's a phrase that refers to something where when it's finished and all put together, it's bigger than the Cricut could have actually cut. So, for example, I have a lot of off-the-mat signs available in my SVG shop at craftforsarah.com/products. And these are giant signs that you would put on your wall. For example, a welcome sign, I've got a giant nativity, various things like that. And they are about this big when they're put together, kind of 28 inches. And you wouldn't be able to cut that on a Cricut because it's too big, it wouldn't fit. And also you wouldn't be able to buy cardstock that big. So how it's done is the base bits, the biggest bits, are cut in sections, and then they all overlap a little bit, and you stick these sections together so that it then becomes this giant project that you've made from smaller bits that then get stuck together to make a big one. They're a lot of fun to make, but fair warning, they do take a long time and they generally need a whole lot of cardstock. Loretta says, hello Sarah, love your designs. What was your original inspiration for creating SVGs? So I have been kind of in the sort of online space for card making for quite a long time, long before I had a Cricut. And I've always enjoyed making card making designs and sharing them. I had a blog and things like that. And for Christmas in 2019, my dad bought me a Cricut. So all of this is his fault. So he bought me a Cricut, which was amazing. And I really enjoyed using some of the projects in Design Space. But then I wanted to make a frame for my mum for her birthday. And she has Boston Terrier dogs. And I wanted to do an SVG of a Boston Terrier to go in the frame along with the pictures. And I could not find one anywhere. So I decided to have a go at creating one. And that was the first of many, many different dogs. I think after doing that, I've now got something like 230 different dog breeds available in my shop. It's one of those things. I love dogs, like completely. I'm definitely a dog person. And so it was really, really fun working on all of those, and kind of nice that one of the biggest projects or the biggest series that we've ever done was originally based on my mum's lovely dogs. Esty says, what is your least favorite thing to make? Oh, definitely anything with vinyl. I hate it so much. I always find that I can't see the lines very well, even with a light box, and the weeding takes ages. I stab myself with the weeding tool. Normally, I then struggle with the transfer tape, and yeah, just don't like it. Um, but in terms of cardstock projects, I would say anything that involves getting messy. I'm not a fan of paint or inks or anything like that that means I'm going to get my fingers dirty. I've never, sort of my whole life, never really liked messy crafts, so I try and stay away from those as well. Tina says, what is your thoughts on using masking tape to help hold things down on the not so sticky mats? I do that all the time. Yeah, absolutely. I think as long as you just make sure that it doesn't cover any of the bits that you're going to end up being cut, in case when it comes off the edges it damages the cardstock. But yeah, it's super helpful. I know a lot of people have success with cleaning their cutting mats, but I've tried it so many times, all the different methods you see online, and I just can't seem to get them sticky again. But putting some washi tape or masking tape or painter's tape around the edge of the cardstock on the mat does mean that I can normally use it for a couple more weeks before it's just completely not sticky. So yeah, I absolutely do that all the time. Loretta said, what first inspired your amazing gnome collection? I'm not sure really. The first two gnomes we ever did were Christmas themed gnomes. So it was probably just that we were trying to think, what can we do that's Christmassy, and thought, hey, gnomes would be great. And that was back in 2021, I think. And gnomes weren't as popular then as they are now. I think they're definitely going through a little bit of a craze. I've been walking through some of the shops. Now they've got all their Christmas stuff out, even though it does kind of feel a little bit early for that. But it's just gnomes everywhere, which is amazing. I like to think we were a little bit ahead of the curve on those gnomes. Julia says, your designs are amazing. Thank you so much. That's really kind. On average, how long does it take you to do a project from idea to finish? So it varies a little bit based on what the project is, but for a general layered cardstock design, it's usually about 8 hours from having the idea, sketching it out, creating the illustration, turning it into all of the layers, and then saving it out as an SVG, getting it all checked in Design Space. So that process is about 8 hours. And then we test cut every single design that we do. I think it's really, really important that as a designer, make sure that it's going to work exactly right before you get it. So that's normally between an hour to hour and a half to test cut it and stick it together, make sure it all works. And then we make the assembly guides and save it in all the different file formats for different types of cutting machine. We do the photography, then it's putting it all together, adding it to the website. So all in all, if you take every single thing into account, for a general layer design, probably around 12 hours each. So yes, it takes a long time, but hopefully it's worth it because they do end up really nice in the end. But yeah. Sherry says, scan and cut enhanced trace tool. How do you trace around a white image so the blade will cut around the image? I'm afraid I don't know. I do have a scan and cut, but I've only used it to cut cardstock from SVGs that I've loaded in. I haven't done any of the actual scanning functionality, so I'm not sure on that one, I'm afraid. But if you search for it, maybe in Google or in YouTube, you might be able to find a video on how to do it. I do like how the scan and cut cuts, though. It is pretty good. Okay, so that is the end. Thank you so much for watching. I feel like I've spoken very quickly, so everything I said makes sense. But if you've got any questions, leave a comment on this video and I'll try and get back to you. Or you can send me an email at hello@craftwithsarah.com. And once you've finished up at the Card Summit event this weekend, if you're looking for even more paper crafting fun, check out my Christmas Craft Countdown event at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas25. It's 20 days of brand new Christmas paper craft projects to make with a Cricut or other type of cutting machine. Today we're on day 4, and our project today is a 3-dimensional Christmas train with carriages. It's a big one. It will definitely take you probably a whole day to make, but again, absolutely worth it because it's something you can bring out year after year. So every single day for the rest of November, I'll be releasing a new project and you can get them all at that link. But for now, I really hope that you have an amazing time at this summit. I'll be checking into the Facebook group, and if you make any of the cards, I'd love it if you posted a photo in there so that we can see. As designers, I mean, I'm kind of talking, putting words in other people's mouths here a little bit, but certainly for us, seeing what other people make with our designs is such a highlight of our day, and we love going through it. Sometimes we'll all gather together and look in all the Facebook groups and see what everyone's making and leave comments and things, and that really, really is what kind of makes it all worthwhile seeing what you will make. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the card and have a wonderful weekend and rest of the day. All right, bye.